What's up, guys? Welcome in to, I wouldn't say it's the first episode. We're just doing this again. Fourth and Wrong daily. Just now, as we started, I can already see how off some of the graphics are and the rebranding, if you will. It's just different colors. But anyway, I hope all of you are doing well. Been a minute since we did the daily episode. That was kind of the whole plan when we first started doing Fourth and Wrong. And then, former employer had some other plans. But we are back and we're going to start doing this again. Very excited to talk to you guys on a daily basis. Most of you, I should say. It's April 24th. It's a glorious day. Thank you for joining us. And we're just going to be doing a daily show talking about all the latest things in college football. And let's start today with, I think, the news that, like, I tell you what, there's an Instagram handle I follow called Tank's Good News. And all it is this guy named Tank Sinatra who does a lot of memes and shit. And it's just him posting good news. And that's kind of what's up, Kirby Smart? That's kind of what it felt like today. Waking up, was when I woke up, hearing the news that Reggie Bush got his Heisman back. It seems like in this day and age in college football, there's seldom times that the NCAA or almost anything that happens 2 episodes in 1 week. That's right. It seems very seldom that the people in charge, the grown-ups in the room, if you will, rarely do anything for the good of the fan. And maybe they shouldn't. We're not the ones that are, driving the needle on all that stuff, I guess. I don't know. We're not the ones that are consuming their product religiously each and every single year. I'm being sarcastic when I say that. But we're the ones that seem to constantly get the short end of the stick, right? Like, I'll just say it. We talked about on the latest episode of the Fourth and Wrong podcast with me and Tyler Huck. There's no reason to ever do a 2-minute warning, and they did. But Reggie Bush getting his Heisman back felt like, thank you, Brian. It felt like it was good news for everybody, and I was, it didn't take long until at least one person had to be a contrarian and say that it was like the wrong decision, whatever. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I thought it was awesome. And here's the reason why. It's because it's not just the fact that, all right, well, that rule which was he got impermissible benefits. His family lives in basically a house for 2 years that was over $600,000. I see several Bama fans in the chat already. What do you think? How do you think they moved to his family? Right? I know he didn't win a Heisman, but, like, how do you think that happens? It's like, these are all things that happened for a very long time for elite players, which Reggie Bush definitely was. And he happened to get caught, and they took away his Heisman. One of the reasons that was so stupid is because it doesn't change anything that happened on the field. Like, you talk about the NCAA constantly vacating wins and doing dumb shit like that. Like, it doesn't change what happened on the field. Reggie Bush, especially in the 2005 season, was one of the most dominant players in a single season in arguably any season in college football history. Like, this is before we saw some of the gaudy numbers that quarterbacks put up with Sam Bradford and Tebow and Cam and Joe Burrow and all that kind of stuff, Johnny Manziel, all those guys. But this was a running back that was on a mini dynasty in USC, and he was must-see television. I'm going to date myself, and I don't really care because all of you guys know I'm old anyway. But I remember being in college and waiting to go out downtown until the Fresno State USC game was off, because it was must-see appointment television. And to do it in the year that he did, when you're talking about Matt Leinart, who won the Heisman a year before, you talk about Vince Young and the crazy season they had, you could argue that, he deserved the award as well. I mean, to do it in that field was truly astounding, and I love the fact they gave his Heisman back. Yeah, it was great news. It was awesome for Manziel standing up for him. Yeah, I don't know if you're Reggie Bush, if Manziel is the first person you want to see standing up for you. I love Johnny Manziel. I'm just saying, like, kind of tongue in cheek. I don't know if that's what you're looking for right off the bat, but it's cool to see. You talk about, like, a month and a half ago, Reggie Bush was doing an interview with Julian Edelman, and he went out and said, I think the direct quote was, he's been on the ass of the NCAA and the Heisman Trust. And you love to see it. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you when I knew this was going to happen. Okay, and as you could probably already guess, just from most people in the comments that know me from Twitter or social media, or you could guess from the first couple minutes of the show, we're not going to be super serious here. The moment, whether it was an intern or a professional or whoever was running the fucking social media account for the Heisman, put out a tweet about OJ dying and how they mourned the loss of OJ. The only time you should be mourning the loss of OJ is at brunch. And even then, there's probably tons of other juices and champagne to get you through it. OJ was a bag of shit, and just a massive bag of shit. And they actually went out of their way to tweet that. I will say this. I will say this. I think that one positive from the OJ tweet, it's nice to know that the idiot that was running the FSU Twitter account that put the receiver gloves on the Martin Luther King still shot for MLK Day a couple years ago. It's nice to see that kid landed on his feet. Good for him. But the moment that tweet went out about mourning the loss of OJ Simpson, it kind of felt like there's no fucking way. There's just no way they're not going to give this dude his Heisman, right? Pepper, my dog, is very excited you guys are here. She won't stop moving in the background. I apologize for that. But yeah, as a couple of you guys already guessed in here, it's when OJ died. That's insane. So anyway, I think it's great news. I love the fact that Reggie's getting his Heisman back. Where did it go? Like, where did they put the Heisman in that, like, in the meantime? Like, who had it? Like, that would have been pretty great for parties. I would say that. Pepper, if you don't sit down. Pineapple juice is better than mimosa. We're not gonna get into mimosa talk. Anyway, so I thought it was great news. I think in this day and age of football, in college football especially, rarely do we see something go in the way of fans in a positive way. And I really hope Brian Lou is not still watching, because I'm pretty sure that was grammatically one of the most horrific sentences ever said. But it makes me happy that they finally got it right, because rarely does that happen. All right. Anyway, segment two. Look, I got a whole other graphic for that too. The dogs are freaking out. I wish I could pause it and then start over, but we can't do that. Segment two. We're going to talk about my girlfriend's favorite team. Some would argue my favorite team last year, even though that's not very true. Pepper, let's cut the shit. Dad's trying to make a career still. All right, so Auburn today, if you saw the news, Auburn, thanks, Brian. Auburn lands the top portal receiver in the transfer portal. It is a transfer from Penn State. To make sure I don't get this name wrong, it is Keandre Lambert-Smith. Now, this is a former four-star recruit. Like, he was the third best receiver in the Big Ten last year. Third best receiver in the Big Ten last year. It's ironic. I saw Bud Elliott post this earlier today, and that is that the third best receiver in the Big Ten transferred to get away from Peyton Thorne a year ago. Now he's transferring to play with Peyton Thorne. That's also something I'll say tongue-in-cheek. Nobody's transferring to play to play with Peyton Thorne. I will tell you, it makes a ton of sense for him to want to play in this offense. You've seen the numbers that Hugh Freeze's offense has put up in the past. I, for one, am still shocked, and I think it's probably because of Peyton Thorne, but I'm shocked that they didn't have better numbers a year ago, because one thing that Hugh Freeze has always been able to do is turn things around very quickly. And he didn't really do that at Auburn. They go 6-7. They didn't make a bowl game, but it's their third straight losing season. You look at the track record of Hugh Freeze and what he's been able to do in the places he's been before. His first stop at Arkansas State, right? Arkansas State didn't have a winning season, or at least over 6 wins, I think, in like the previous 23 years or something before Hugh Freeze got there. I think their one winning season was like a 6-5 season in 1995. You have to double check that for me, but I'm 98% sure that's true. But you talk about a guy that was able to go in, turn that around year one. I think they go 10 wins. Then he goes to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a team that had one combined SEC win in 2 previous seasons where he got there. They go 3-5. I think his first year. They get 3 SEC wins his first year in Oxford. They end up going to a bowl game that year. Like, he's been everywhere he's been. It's been a quick turnaround. And the offenses he's been able to put up have been really, Pepper is on her bullshit tonight, have been really, really productive, right? And you've seen the receivers. You've seen what they've been able to put up and the numbers the quarterbacks have put up. Like that 2015 team, I mean, that's a year of Chad Kelly, who I think Chad Kelly is actually a very underrated quarterback in SEC recent history. But you talk about a guy that I think he had like 4,500 total yards and had led the SEC. They led the SEC in scoring, led the SEC in total offense. I'm not saying that Peyton Thorne is any of those things, but I will tell you, if you're a rival fan like me, it's probably time to at least take this seriously. I'm not going to say worry, but it's time to take this seriously. Because the thing that I think, if you're an outside fan, and I'll say this, it's my show, so who fucking cares? As a rival fan, as a Bama fan, you sit there and it's really low hanging fruit to laugh at the Auburn family and all that kind of stuff. And again, like, surprised they didn't turn around quicker. But they did so many things last year that were counterproductive to their growth, I feel like, as a program. All that kind of feels like really the past couple of years, all that feels like it's kind of gone by the wayside now. It feels like what Auburn is doing all the things that Auburn did in the past when they were successful, which is raise a bunch of money, give it to your players, have a seedy coach, and then go out and win football games. I'm barely joking when I say that, but like, you think about the times Auburn was at its best, and that's exactly what they did. So NIL is completely legal now. You go out and you have Hugh Freeze, who's already a good recruiter. When he was at Ole Miss, they had 8 total 5-stars in the history of that program. He signed 4 of them in like a 5-year span. He goes out this year, gets Cam Coleman, he gets Perry Thompson. You get 2 5-stars, you get 2 more top 150 or 250 guys, and then you also get the number 1 receiver in the portal. Pepper, if you don't sit down and shut up, come here. You go out and get this guy who's in the portal. So now it's not just that you have a Cam Coleman, a complete difference maker, a physical specimen that's going to be, I don't want to say a man amongst boys, but is going to be a difference maker at the age of 18 immediately. And now you get that kid in spring practice, and all that kid does is turn heads. All that kid does is turn heads, and then you wait on Perry Thompson to get here, right? And then you wait on some of the other freshmen that are coming in. So you have this outstanding receiving class thing. Many people thought it was the best receiving class in any recruiting class of the 2024 cycle. And now you add this kid on there, who at the very least is a veteran from a Power 5 school that knows how to win and put up good numbers. And he did it in a system that, if we're being serious, or if we're being honest, was dog shit last year. Like, Drew Allar was terrible. So if the argument against who's going to throw him the football, if the argument is against this kid going there is who's going to throw him the football, let's take a step back and look at Drew Allar and what he did or what he didn't do last year. I think it's something that is going to be very, very different in the SEC this year, and that is Auburn being able to compete in a different way. It's not going to just be running between the tackles or running the football or anything like that. All right, anyway. Listen, I'll be honest. That's probably going to be most of the show tonight, because I need to walk Pepper before she loses her fucking mind. I appreciate all you guys joining us. We'll do this again tomorrow. Probably an earlier show or maybe a later show, because we're going to be talking about the draft. Several things about that. I've got we got some more graphics coming out for that as well. But we'll be doing this daily. Please join, like, and subscribe to the what do they always say? Like and subscribe to the channel. Yeah, and keep me afloat, job wise. So I hope all of you have a good night. We'll do this again tomorrow. I'll put Pepper in the other room, and we'll see you then. Thanks, y'all. Pepper, for the love of God.